This week we're in beautiful Collingwood, Ontario, home to the Blue Mountain Resort, a four-season playground that attracts visitors from around the world. What are we doing here? Well, as you know, because many of you have been with us since the beginning, we've been bringing you stories about cars and the people who drive them for 32 years. Well, the new guy, he likes to be called the young guy on motoring TV, is Zach Spencer. Zach came up with an idea to, well, add a fresh twist to the program. Here's Zach to explain.
Well, you know the moniker of the show is stories about cars and the people who drive them. So I thought, let's get real Canadians to test drive the cars that we generally do here on the show. And we reached out to manufacturers, and Mercedes-Benz said, absolutely, we want real Canadians to try our vehicles. And you sent in auditions, and we were overwhelmed by the response. The first person we're gonna meet is Brian Hunt and his beautiful family here in Collingwood, Ontario, with the Mercedes-Benz GLB.
So the Hunt family been up this area for about 10 years. Narda and I have two daughters, and I work in the film and television industry. I do a lot of work, more documentary style work, and a lot of stuff with in the tourism industry. But the whole reasons of being up in this area was to really be in this four-season playground. The stuff we could do here, the skiing, the snowboarding. We have arguably some of the best mountain biking in Ontario, which I love to do. It's a small town, but some great amenities and just amazing for doing outdoor stuff that we all like to do with our family. So right now I am driving for my kind of main production vehicle that I keep my camera gear in. I have a Dodge Ram with a cab in the back, and then our family vehicle that we're using is Mitsubishi Outlander Hybrid. The interest in the GLB and the Mercedes GLB is kind of cost for getting into a luxury brand, but something that seems more attainable for us and made sense for our family. And also, there's some other features in it that really make it stand out for us. It's not just having a Mercedes because you want to have a Mercedes to show off. It actually has a lot of function to it that makes sense for us to have. I'm usually on the other side of the camera, so this is always great to do things this way where other people are doing all the work and I just get to sit around and have fun and drive a vehicle.
This car starts at just over $43,000.
Yes.
And that's not crazy.
No, I mean, I think this is actually cheaper than our hybrid Mitsubishi.
Okay. So what do you think about the engine, the transmission, the handling? I mean, you live in a beautiful part of Canada here.
Yep.
In the Collingwood area, so you have some great roads to exercise a car like this.
Yeah.
How's it been driving up here?
For Ontario, we get a lot of elevation here and a lot of hills, and that had been a complaint from my wife on our other vehicle. She felt like the car was struggling to get up our other vehicle. It's got tons of power. Like, it doesn't feel like it's struggling anywhere. It just wants to pick up and go, and it just feels solid.
So under the hood here is a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. It's got 221 horsepower, but more importantly, it's got 258 pound-feet of torque. Now, what about size? I mean, you're a pretty big guy, but
yeah.
One thing about German cars I find is there's big Germans, right?
Yeah.
So lots of headroom. What do you think?
Yeah, I've had no problems. I didn't feel like cramped in here at all.
When I bought my car, I had a checklist, and I only marked off half of those. And when I saw this car, the first thing was a third row seat. And that's what I wanted, but I couldn't have it in my car. Even though I only have 2 kids, I drive a lot of other kids around. So even though it's small, it can really only fit kids in there. It's perfect for what I need to do.
I believe this is the sports package.
Yeah, you have the AMG appearance package on the outside, so it gives it a slightly edgier look. I like it.
I mean, I don't think my wife wants to return this one, so.
Met my husband on a cruise ship. He was a videographer and I was working in the spa, and our cabins were right across from each other. We talked in the hallway and we fell in love right away.
My wife has metastatic breast cancer, so cancer that has spread from the breast to the other parts of the body. It was in her livers, and from other different treatments and stuff. Now she's having problems with some of her shoulders and her arms and stuff. She did have problems. We had a vehicle before, which we used to love driving standard, but she would always have problems with the stick having something like this where you can actually put it with the paddles into a mode where you're driving it like you're driving a standard vehicle, but you don't have that whole thing of clutching and having to have a stick. And for her to have something comfortable and something that she wants to drive is a big deal for me. Metastatic breast cancer is a terminal illness. You know, people have different length things, but I want her to enjoy all the time she has.
Comfort is quite important because I've had a few surgeries and we don't live in Toronto. So we always have the 2-hour drive. And that can be very uncomfortable after surgery. The great thing about this car is that for every seat, there's so many settings. You really can find for your body and what aches and pains you have, you can find a comfortable seat for whatever you have.
If you're spending 15 hours a week in a vehicle, it's important to have a vehicle that you like to be in and treats you well and it fits you well.
Okay, we're at a stop sign here, so I'm going to put it into the sport mode. You probably didn't even know it had that.
I didn't know.
Okay, now there's we're in the middle of the country here, so let's give it a little gas here. A little more, a little more, a little more.
Woo. Yeah, that is amazing.
It's fun, right?
Yeah. Actually, a lot of things surprised me. The first thing was the third row seat. The second thing was surprise. And then the third thing was the pickup. Like, I thought the normal mode was fantastic. When Zach put it into sports mode, I was like, holy moly, it's like, this is unbelievable.
The computer can tell when it's slipping and it'll move power around to the different wheels.
Yeah.
And that's the advantage of having an advanced all-wheel drive system, is it works in all weather, even in rainy situations as well. Now you like that sport button, don't you?
Yes.
So Narda, a really cool feature on this, just imagine you've got your hands full of groceries.
Yeah.
You've got either the key in your pocket or your purse. You just swipe your foot under the bumper and like magic,
Oh, wow.
it opens up
Amazing.
automatically, and then you put your groceries in, you push the button, and away you go.
For me, it's very hard to lock down a heavy trunk. So the button and the foot that I can just wave underneath the car and the trunk opens, that for me is like heaven. I never would have thought of test driving a Mercedes-Benz. I just thought that it's totally out of my league. And then when we won this competition, we got to drive the car, and I realized, well, it's not out of my price range. I think that sometimes when you shop for a car, maybe try cars you never thought of.
I really think the GLB could make for a great family vehicle. I mean, the bad thing about sometimes demoing vehicles like this, I have the same problem with bicycles. Sometimes when you demo out stuff, is that you drive it, now you see like how much better it can be and how things should drive. And so I don't know if we can bring this one back. My wife really wants to hold on to it.
I never would have thought about driving Mercedes, and I'm really happy I did.
Well, Brian, you got a wonderful family. I hope you had fun. Any final thoughts on the GLB?
Well, I think my wife is really set on getting one, so I might be hitting you up for maybe some contacts that can swing a deal.
We'll shoot you to the right dealership. All right, you get the honors to close the show. Go for it.
Stay tuned for next week for more stories about cars, the people who drive them, like me.
So here's the question. Where were you 32 years ago? I know some of you weren't even a glint in your father's eye. As for me, well, I was in diapers, but found time to get Motoring TV off the ground. And today I like to think we've got one of the best automotive video libraries in the world. If you agree, please give us the thumbs up and also subscribe. We'd really appreciate it.